This is my kids at school. So, what does your dad do? He's a plumber. Is he a plumber? Yeah. Really good because he makes loads of money. Everyone's always ringing him up and saying they want stuff done. He never even answers the phone now because, he's got so much work on. He just tries to avoid work. Just puts his prices up. People are always stuck and they got water squirting out the wall. They'll pay anything in that situation. So what does your dad do? This is my kids now. My dad's a YouTuber. Oh, that's cool. What does he do YouTubing about? Is it something good? Well, not really. He talks about really rubbish bands. Or bands you've never heard of. Oh, does he? Yeah. Well, he doesn't even do that. The things that make him the money is the when he just goes on about how he hates certain bands. He just hates them. And that's what everyone likes to watch. Is that how he earns his living? Yeah. That's not a proper job. My dad fixes taps. Right, so this is something that bothers me the whole time. Is that it's like this is how I earn my living now. I've done a very serious video on identity, politics and music related to the jazz singer, looking at how minstrelsy affected Hollywood films and how that's affected American culture, which means the whole culture of the world, and how that impacts our culture. There's all this proper stuff that you need to talk about, and I thought I've got to back this up with one of my hate videos, which is what I'm about to do. But part of the thing of this, I'm starting to hate doing the hate videos. Right, so the way I do a hate video is I get my pad, I sit down and I write, I'm only doing 5 today, because I realise 10 just creates an hour and a half long video, and I feel like I'm rushing in the hate. I want to spend my time in the hate, so I'm doing 5. So this video is going to be called 5 Musicians Who Get on My Nerves. I wouldn't say hate. Don't hate anybody. If I met these people in real life, I'm sure they're nice people. I'm sure I'd get on with them. So I'm not against the actual people themselves, right? And I'm not saying they make the worst music in the world. And these people, I would say, the first guy, I don't like his music. Second guy, I don't like him. But the third guy, I do really like his music. The fourth one's a bit of a stupid one. And then the last one, I really do like their music. But that's not the point. I hate them. That's the whole thing. They get on my nerves. They're irritating. They irritate me. So this, we've got the piece of paper there, right? Now, another thing I'm going to say here is, as I was just about to film this video, but I'm so exasperated by having to do such a stupid thing as to go through all the musicians I hate to make money, to have a proper pot. We don't not meant to make money, but make the channel, this is what supports the channel, because these videos do really well. You all click on them. I have a quick look in the premiere, when it's going on. It says 350 people watching live, and I'm like, bloody hell, that's going to do all right. And then I click a bit later on. This is your biggest viewed video in the last 10 videos. Oh, that's really good. And then with 20,000 views. And then it enables me to get the algorithm to poke a few people towards the proper videos. Andy, what are you doing here? Undermining the very brand that you were creating. What are you doing it for? You're just virtue signaling, aren't you? That's what you're doing here. But I tell you, it's not that. I'll tell you what motivated this. Is I was just attempting to do a video, but I did a natural exasperation of having to do it. It just came out. And I just sort of, when I get exasperated, I do this. And I've learned to do this like a breathing exercise, so that I don't, you're getting stressed, you're going to have a panic attack if you carry on. Breathe in, hold it. And as you can see, I looked at the camera and I thought, this weird thing's happening. And I thought, I didn't know you could do this on an iPhone. So what we've got there is phase. The iPhone is actually flickering at a certain speed. It's taking little photographs like that. And when I do this, my lips are flapping at a certain speed. And if I can get the speed of the flappage at the same as the sort of frequency of photographing of the iPhone, it creates a very strange effect. And I thought, I always like to have the novel and innovative on my channel. So I thought I'll start the video with this, because I know that your Rick Beatos out there and your classic album reviews and your Sea of Tranquilities, they never start a video like this, because they're far too sensible and grown up to start a video like this, because they're all older men of a certain generation. Of course they are, and they do things properly. And yet me, being of a similar age, I still have the mental age of a sort of 7-year-old boy, and that is the thing that is the big it's the big appeal of my channel. So bearing that in mind, remember that what you're going to get here is not the sensible Andy who's thought about culture and music and all that type of stuff. Oh, get it up there. The sun's come out. It's you're not going to get that. You're going to get the 7-year-old who just has a gut dislike of something. And that's a good thing as well. So this is yin and yang. This is what we've got. So I've done 5 minutes of introduction. Oh, my hand's hurting. I got a bad hand. I've had to have this done here. Don't say that. It's from drumming. This is this repetitive strain injury. That's what's my wrist there. Cheeky monkeys. Right, let's get me notes. He says his notes. His notes are just 5 names. Now, number 1, this is in ascending order. It could be actually. Nah, because this bloke would be higher up. It's sort of in ascending order. I have reserved some real hate for the last one. It's a new hate. I haven't explored this realm of hate. Right. So, at number 1, I have got the lead singer of the band Simply Red, Mick Hucknall. So, I'm on to a winner. Shall we just move on? So, Mick Hucknall is the ginger singer of Simply Red. And Simply Red are a band that emerged in the 1980s, and they were sort of cod socialists, although I'm sure, Mick Hucknall sat on a huge, great big ton of money right now from all the cruddy songs he's made. And they emerged, and his first single was a song called "Money's Too Tight to Mention." Money's too tight to mention. Right, that was how it went. Money's too tight to mention. And he sang like that. Now, I can't sing like, Ronnie James Dio or Chris Cornell. And I can't even sing like Marvin Gaye. But I can sort of do a Mick Hucknall impersonation. And yet, Mick Hucknall stated, not only did he put his lefty wing view, money too tight, but it's not now, is it, Mick? It's not now, is it? But he might have been then, but it's not now, is it? I bet you still sing that loud, don't you, if you go out live, trying to get the last bit of juice from your celebrity, going out live, and I bet you call yourself Simply Red. I bet you call yourself Simply Red. There's a guy that I've chatted to a couple of times called Sylvan Richardson. He's like a jazz fusion guitarist and bass player. He plays both. He's brilliant. I got some of his fusion stuff that he put out in the early 90s at home. And I've seen him cropping up on Facebook, and I've chatted to him a few times. I believe he was the guitarist with Simply Red. So I've got to watch what I say now, because I'm sure in real life, Mick Hucknall is not the big ginger twat that he seems like, in his public persona. But anyway, around this time, he came out and said he was the greatest singer in the world or something like that. And at that point, I didn't like him. So that now I don't like him. Now, I got nothing against ginger people. My dad was ginger. One of my daughters is ginger. My best friend at school was ginger. And my other best friend at school was ginger. Ginger people are so marginalised by society that they haven't even got their own identity group. Trans people have, black people have. The gingers haven't. And even with all this political correctness, I can say what I like about gingers right now. And no, everyone just sort of laugh. They'll just laugh. Horrible, smelly gingers with their really green bogies up there. They always have green bogies, don't they? Sticking out their nose. And they've always got an obnoxious personality. And they think they're the best thing, even though they're ginger, because they don't know they're ginger, with their little ginger head, little podgy pink faces, and their little pig-like hands. Right, see, now I can say all that there about the ginger people, and everyone will just be laughing. They don't care. And that's not right. I don't think it's right. They should be able to put out such stereotypes against the ginger people. Like, stop laughing. It's not funny. They're not like that. Has Mick Hucknall got little pig-like hands? Yeah, he probably has. He has. With his big bogies. Now, the only reason I say, right, that ginger... Oh, I thought I'd kick my coffee over then. I got coffee and biscuits to get me through here. I never ever have them. I always put them on the side ready to go, just in case I need some sustenance halfway through to keep the hate going. But, I never actually eat them, because once the hate gets going, I don't stop. I have to lie down after these. I'm sat down here today because people have been moaning about me moving around. God, why don't I even listen to them? You rock about 2 foot. I don't like when you do this. Why don't you look in the camera? Why don't you look in the camera like that? Bloody hell. Can't take criticism. I don't like it. I'll dish it out, but I don't like it coming back. Right? And I bet Mick Hucknall's like that. I bet I've got a similar personality to him. I bet I'm the same. If I actually met him, I'd get on with him. He's a ginger. I'm on the side of the gingers. I don't think it's right having to go at ginger people. In fact, I might not have a go at Mick, and I won't bring up the fact that he's ginger. Let's just concentrate on his actual bad stereotypes, rather than trying to make out his bogies are green. You know, I mean, everyone's bogies are green. The fact is, when I was at school, there was a kid called Ian Powell, and he was a ginger, and he was a nice kid, but he did have unbelievably green bogies. Now, I don't know whether it was the fact that the greenness was accentuated when it was presented near the carroty oranginess of their gingerness. I don't know if that was what it was. But he was a thoroughly nice guy. He had ginger bogies. There's nothing wrong with ginger bogies. I mean, you can't be racist against bogey colour, can you? You know, you can't cite, you know, what colour's the right sort of bogey? All bogies should be able to leave freely and be judged in the same way. You shouldn't be judging bogies on the colour of their boginess. That shouldn't be happening. And it's the same case with Mick Hucknall. Just move away from the gingerness, Andy. Why have you started the video like this? Why? To get some cheap laughs by any chance? Why take the mickey out of the gingers just because you can't be a racist anymore? I've never been a racist. I have to counter that. It was a joke. What's the joke, Andy? The joke is that I'm a closet racist, right? And because I can't be racist against, you know, black people and stuff like that, I'm taking it out on the gingers. That's the joke. But the joke really is the fact that it's ridiculous that we treat. I mean, it's coming from a good place. They don't see it's too nuanced from modern people. And you mean too nuanced here? Just say why you don't like Mick Hucknall. Is it just because he said he was the best singer in the world? What's the problem with that? So what if he's a big head? Many musicians are big heads. You like many musicians who have been big heads. What's so special about Mick Hucknall? Is it the fact that he said that and he's not? Is it the fact that he went, money's too tight to mention, and he sang like that, which you can sort of do, or you think you could do, that makes you equal to Mick Hucknall in some sort of way? What about his brilliant songs that he's written? So, we go through the 1980s, and it's rubbish, the 1980s. All Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan and bloody Bon Jovi's a rock band. You're supposed to think they're good. They are quite like them. But that's by the way. So you go through all the 80s, and then in the 90s, there was a move back to the funk, which I loved. You know, and then certain records come out. And Simply Red go from being this sort of left-wing socialist, you know, 80s band. They make this album called Stars. And Stars has got a track called Something Got Me Started. Something got me started. Ooh, something got me started. I don't really know how it goes. I remember that. Something got me started. That's the way it is. Imagine, look, I'm not going to mention the ginger thing, but I'm just going to try and make it a bit more accurate for you, just so you can see what we're talking about. But because I forgot I brought this in for this video. So, bloody hell. What's he got? What's Andy got? It's exciting. He's got props. He's got some props. What props has he got? Is he going to transform himself into Mick Hucknall? You don't want that to happen, do you? I'm going to go off now and transform into Mick. You hold your horses. We're nearly there with this. We're nearly there. Right. So imagine it's 1991. I'm playing in bands. And this record's come out. Something's got me started. Ooh, something's got me started. I give it all up for you. I give it all up for you. I used to do that. I give it all up for you. I give it all up for you. Oh yeah, I give it all up for you. And something's got me started. I give it all up for you. Oh, I give it all up for you. Yeah, I give it all up for you. Oh yeah. And all the musicians. All the musicians think it's bloody brilliant. Every time I turn up to rehearsal, they're jamming on it. And they think it's funky. They think it's cool. I say, it's funk. I like this. Do you like this tune, Andy? No. Oh, it's funky though, is it? What's the riff on it? Everyone's playing it. I'm going, don't be fooled by this. This isn't funk. This is cod funk. It's faux funk. It's not funk, it's some ginger. Stop calling him ginger. Ginger people aren't funky. I mean, who's the funkiest ginger person in the world? It's Mick Hucknall. Then he comes out with Stars. That's the next thing. Star, oh, star. It's all middle of the road crap. Simply Red a middle of the road crap. But they kept going. Then they did something about a fairground. All right, the fact is, there's nothing there. They're not funky. And the thing that made me hate them was all these musicians in 1991. I'll tell you the exact year, 92 maybe, thinking that this album was a good album. They're not saying it now, are they? Right, no one is saying that Stars is a great album. At the time, it was like the brothers in arms of that year. Everybody had to have a copy of it. Everybody thought, you've all got a copy of, everyone's got a copy of Stars. You don't have to go to car boot sale. What are you going to find? Stars straight away. Right, a CD copy of Stars is the most worthless thing in the world. Right, if you had one and you went down to your local town and said, do you want me to give you this as a present? They go, no, I don't want that. I don't want Stars by Simply Red. I'll go on, have it. No, I'm not having it. Just put it in the bin. I don't want to put it in the bin. Don't put it in the bin now. Its value goes up as soon as you throw it in the bin, because the value of it is for it to be eradicated from human thought. Right? There's no value in that. No, I think I was going to get pounded. No one's going to buy Stars now. It's Simply Red. No one's going to buy it. Yeah, everyone thought it was brilliant at the time. I know, they were wrong. They were absolutely wrong. Everyone thought it was went out and bought it. It's one of those albums, you think they happen. And at the time, people will put it in the best of lists at the end of the year. And people think that this album will be talked about in the future. But it won't. Everyone will forget about it. It'll be the biggest album of that year, but they'll all forget about it. And Mick Hucknall will be sad, although he made so much money at the time. So he's sat in his big house, being all arrogant, and he's thinking, oh, go back out and talk. And the people who turn up to those Simply Red gigs, who are they? Because no one's going to be... right, if you like Simply Red, put it in the thing. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong right now and put in the comments, I love Simply Red and Stars is my favourite album. Let's find where you are. If anyone watches my channel with my discussions of the Marvis Structure, Miles Davis, of early jazz, of cultural history, if any of you are Simply Red fans, hold your head in shame. I give it all up for you. He wouldn't give it up for me, I tell you that now. He's not going to give any of it up, I tell you. Not old Mick. Don't like him. Gets on my nerves. Probably a lovely bloke in real life, but I don't think so. You know he's a twat, don't you? You know it. It doesn't have to be, I mean, if you met him, I bet he's a right, I mean, I bet it's Van Morrison levels of horribleness, isn't it, in real life? Ginger Baker levels of, he was a ginger, wasn't he? Now, was Ginger funkier than Mick? He was, wasn't he? So that now, I might have to do this. A top 10 is emerging here. The 10 most funky ginger people. All I've got on the list at the moment is Mick Hucknall and Ginger Baker. I mean, Ginger Baker, he should be number one because his name is Ginger. It's in the title. He wasn't a baker, though. My granddad was a baker. He wasn't ginger, though. But my dad's ginger. But my dad tried baking when he was in the 1970s. There was a thing where people wanted to bake their own bread in the 1970s. And my dad thought, I'm going to bake my bread. And he said to me, my father was a baker and he made bread through the war. Probably made bread through the war. So he didn't have to go and join the army and get shot. And that was a proper occupation, one of these protected zones, because he was making bread for the English people. So I reckon because he can make bread well, I'll be able to make. But he couldn't make bread well. Right, because it doesn't come down through the genes. Baking doesn't come down. Gingerness does, but baking doesn't. So Ginger Baker, yeah, the first bit is accurate. Second bit's a complete lie. Bloody hell. At least Mick Hucknall hasn't got a lie in his name. Although I don't think all the hooks are... He's not... I don't know. That's a terrible joke, Andy. It was nearly there. A bit more thought. You could probably work it up. But up until there, you did all right. Shall we just move on to number 2? Because that was bloody 20 minutes on Mick Hucknall. Well, that's what you're going to get, is it? At number 2, I've got John Legend. I won't spend so much time on him because I don't know as much about him. But every time I see him, he gets on my nerves. Right, I only know one song by him, and it's Ordinary People. You know that now. Why do I hate John Legend? Much the same reason why I hate Mick Hucknall. John Legend is, like Ginger Baker, John Legend is not a legend, right? He's just a singer. But he's got the name John Legend, and because of that, people think he's better than he is, but he's not very good. He's earnest, but earnest does not make you good. That's John Legend's problem. He's too earnest, right? He does sort of soul, rhythm and blues, soul-y, funky sort of stuff, but it's like it's less funky than Maxwell. Maxwell is like, middle of the road funkiness, isn't he? Right? He's the. I mean, he's a bit better now, but when in the sort of neo soul period, Maxwell was the worst of that lot. I was very disappointed by the Maxwell album. I don't hate Maxwell. I thought he had a cool haircut. He looked cool. I was taken in by the whole lot with Maxwell, but not John Legend. I wasn't taken in by him. He's not just ordinary people. He's part of the bloody elite. That is. He's always there. Him and Alicia Keys, right? But if you notice, I do not have any hate for any female because I am not a misogynist. And although I do hate Alicia Keys in every shape and way and form, and I put her in the same bracket as John Legend, right? I am not going to direct my eye at a lady. It's not right. But John Legend is a man and he can take it. And he's probably a very rich man. He's got no soul, right? There's no soul. There's no groove. There's no funkiness. And he's part of that bland sort of elite musician class that we have that Alicia Keys is also a part of. And I do know, I've never listened to it, but he did do a version of Baby It's Cold Outside, but changed the lyrics because of some sort of Me Too movement view of Baby It's Cold Outside, that it's somehow misogynistic to sing that. Two people, right, in a nice warm house, and the man is trying to chat up the lady, and he's using the weather conditions to try and get his end away, right? This is good, solid subject matter for a song. There's nothing wrong with that. This happens all around the world, all over. We're all here because this has happened. How many of you exist because your parents, probably against what they thought would be best, got stuck in a cold house somewhere, and the man decided, your dad decided to try and think and say, oh, you don't want to go home now. Why don't you stay here? And where are they going to sleep? Well, they don't need to go on the couch or nip in with me. I mean, the couch is cold, but why don't you get in bed with me here? Come on, get in bed with me. I don't want to get in bed with you. Oh, go on, come on. We'll cuddle up and be warm. Well, I might do, but I don't know. Oh, no, yeah. And that's what the song's about. That is a human story that exists around the whole world, but not to John Legend. He has to change it. Legend changes it. He changes the lyrics so that it's not misogynistic. That's what Legend does, and that's why I hate him. Yeah, he's a bland, bloody soul artist that should never be making records, because he's really making records for the middle of the road people. He's the Barry Manilow of today. He really is John Legend, right? But the fact that he has to bloody virtue signal by changing what's a perfectly good song. I mean, I don't know who sung it originally. I can't remember. But here in the UK, we had Tom Jones and Cerys Matthews redo it. And it's like Tom Jones was old enough to be Cerys's granddad back then. And Tom Jones is a bit of a ladies' man. Right? I can tell you some stories about Tom Jones. I got told some stories about Tom Jones when I was on tour by some of the ladies that had come across him. Right? That bloke, I mean, I'll say it now. I mean, he's 80. How old's he? 85 this year, isn't he? Old Tom. He's the same age as my mum. But, when he was young, he did a lot of hip movement, old Tom did a lot, gyrated, and that's what drove the women wild. If you can pull that off, then you're going to get attraction. The ladies are going to be interested with you, aren't you? If you're Tom Jones with those sort of hip gyrations that you can do, a good, well, solid bloke. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with people being attracted to each other. That's what happens. And if someone's attracted to Tom Jones, no problem. And the fact that a lot of ladies are attracted to him, that's in evidence watching the bloody videos. If you go back, he's snogging girls in the audience. I've talked about this on another video. Good on Tom. He's done what he's done. That's what he is. So the fact that at one point historically, you got old Tom singing this song to a younger lady when he's known as being a bit of a Lothario. And good on him. Good on old Tom. He's a bloody national institution. Shouldn't be knocked. Bloody. And then John Legend comes along. Oh, I can't sing like that. Who's he do the duet with? I've never listened to it. I don't know anything about it. It's not Alicia Keys. If it's Alicia Keys, I'm just going to give up. And that's it. Right, I'm going to move on now. Number 3 on the list. I've thought of this bloke over and over again. And I tell you why I don't want to put him on. I'll have to tell you who it is. I won't, I always try and just wheedle out the tension at the beginning, because that's the only reason why I clicked on the video. I wonder who he's going to go on about now. It's only an anti-climax when I say them. Dave Gilmour. Dave Gilmour gets on my nerves. Now, I know I should be saying Roger Waters gets on my nerves. Roger Waters does get on my nerves. He really does. Now, the thing about him that gets on my nerves, but also makes me like Roger Waters, is that when he went on Piers Morgan, he used the same device I use, where he started talking to himself. Did he do that? Yeah, he did it. Bloody hell, did you think he got that from you? I think he did, because I did a video on Roger Waters, and I tried to give him, the benefit of the doubt with his bloody anti-Semitic ways. I remember that video. It's quite a good one. A lot of people saw it. Yeah, they were very interested in it. Do you think Roger Waters saw it? I do think he saw it, yeah. I think he saw it, and he went, oh, I like that device he's using. The bloke's talking to himself. Now, I've copied this off Stuart Lee, the comedian. That's where I've got it for. I mean, he didn't invent it. He thinks he's invented it because he's an arrogant lefty, like bloody Roger Waters. So why pick on David Gilmour? Why would you pick on him? Well, I'll tell you why. Because when he used that, obnoxious as it was on Piers Morgan, oh, calm down, Roger. Don't let him go. I liked it. Because the thing is, when someone is truly in your face, like weird and annoying, I quite like it. I quite like that. I like the Ted Nugents of the world. When I'm looking at Ted Nugent's comment, people go, oh, well, you need to do Nugent. He said he supported Putin and thought he was a moral man. And I'm like, I just think that's amazing. Oh, you can't knock him for saying that, can you? But you knocked somebody else for supporting Putin, didn't you? Who was that I knocked? Fred Durst. Yeah, but Fred Durst's an idiot. I don't think Nugent's an idiot. No, I think Nugent is winding you up. That's the difference. And I ain't going to fall for it. That's what it is. And Roger Waters is he's like, it's the tradition of the British cardigan wearing communist. Jeremy Corbyn's one, and he's one. Brought him a sort of upper middle class family, usually a strong mother who's part of the bloody Communist Party. They put their politics onto the child. You've got to be like this, you've got to be... And they're like that. I'm going to please my mummy, And so they just try out this communist stuff. Mummy, did you see my gig I did? I'm dead, Roger, because you're like 80 years old. Well, if you were alive, you would have really liked... I had pigs. And you know what the pigs, they represent the capitalists, like the pigs in George Orwell. I had floated around up in the sky. And I think he would have really like, oh, that doesn't sound very good. Yeah, and I don't like the Jews, Well, don't say that too obviously. So Roger Waters is a big trolling fool, and he's like done terror. I've talked about this on the channel. Dave Gilmour, however, sits there all quiet and snotty with his wife. They're like that. And you feel like the wife's telling him what to do a little bit, because she's in doing the lyrics. It's like that bloody, what's her name? Janice off bloody Spinal Tap, You don't get your right. Even if she's a good lyricist, don't get her right in the lyrics. Who wants to write lyrics to my album? Oh, that'd be great. I can show my creativity and I can be involved in it. And then I'll Twitter and have an opinion about Pink Floyd. I can't stick it right now. With Gilmour, I would not have said this until he did his interview with Rick Beato. And all the way through that, I'm watching it and I'm thinking, he's got a bit of his moustache missing. That's what I'm thinking. Why is he? I mean, he's a multi. But surely he could fix a moustache. Maybe he doesn't mind having that bit of patch missing on him. But I can't concentrate on what he's saying because of the bit of moustache that's missing from him. Why is he missing a moustache for? How do you lose a moustache? Right? So I'm thinking, especially when you're a millionaire, surely he's got people that could hunt for this moustache for him. But that's by the by. So I had difficulty concentrating. The only bits that came through in his very posh, sort of plummy voice as he was the bits when he was incredibly arrogant and big-headed. And every time Beato, who's crawling there, I think, even though he's had this thing called the Gilmour effect, which we know is true, that Gilmour is like this guitarist that everyone who knows nothing about guitar playing thinks is a great guitar player because he bends the notes. And he does something that has become a thing on my channel, and you love when I do it, and I'm going to do it now, so you're ready for it? He makes this sound. You know that sound? And because he goes, and there he is on Beato going, yes, I've heard people trying to do this and they never could do it quite right. You know why? It's because I'm a musical genius. And everything he said was, he just would agree. He thinks he's the bee's knees because he can go, he's got a captive audience. All the Pink Floyd fans are all nutters. They love it. They're going to go to the Roger Water gigs. They're going to go to Dave Gilmour gigs, right? And they're going to go there because that's all they've got to hold on to. Dave Gilmour stands there and he does the songs with masses of money, so it sounds all great because there's loads of British session musicians. I can't stand him. I can't stand. There's something about Pink Floyd I hate, right? That Richard Wright and Nick Mason. They're the okay ones. I've met Nick Mason, and even saying that, Nick Mason was a bit strange when I met him. So I was at a drum festival. I got this charity snare drum that I was trying to get signed so you could raffle it off for a charity. I'm there I'm a good guy, you know. I'm doing the moral thing. He's a nice guy. He's working there for charity, trying to save people, and he's doing all that. We was doing a good thing, and so Nick didn't do a bad thing, but basically, I was there and I was running around and going, oh, that's the drummer with One Direction. See if we can get him to sign. Are you the drummer for One Direction? And he's like, yeah, I am. I'm the drummer for One Direction. Yeah, you look like you're about 14. No, I'm actually 20. Are you? Yeah, I got a trendy haircut and my dad bought me a nice drum kit and then they said, can you do the gig with One Direction? I said, I'll do the gig with One Direction. No, so I'm talking to all these little kids and everyone's worshipping. He said, can you sign my stand? Yeah, I will do. Yeah. You've got Chad Smith's signature on here, haven't you? Yeah, I got him to sign it. Oh, that's good, isn't it? I like Chad Smith. So that's what's going on. And once I've got everybody that was playing at this drum face, so Nick Mason's not supposed to be there, and I literally turned around to my mate like this, and I say, I think we're done. Do you think there's anyone else we can get to sign the snare drum? And he goes, how about Nick Mason? I said, how are we going to get Nick Mason to sign it? He goes, because he's stood behind you. And I said, what? And I looked around, and he's quite tall, and he was looking down on me like this. You know, like that hammer thing that looks down in bloody the wall. He's looking down on me like that. And I said, Mr. Nick Mason. And Nick Mason went like this. I respect him for this. It makes me like him. I'm only doing this, telling the story. I just want to tell the story. And I said, I'll do exactly how it goes. Right. So I went, Mr. Nick Mason. And he went, I said, I've got this snare drum that I want to sign for charity. And he went, I said, would you be willing to sign it for me? And he went, I said, is that okay then? And he went, I gave him the drum, he signed his name on it, and then he went, and then he just disappeared into thin air. Right, that's Dave Gilmour done. Right, the next one is a collection of musicians. It's a certain type of musicians. I need a prop. You wait there. See, I don't prepare myself. Any other decent, any decent YouTuber would have all this ready. They'd have the Mick Hucknall wig ready. Right, I'm going to delve into my stick bag, and I'm going to pull my drumstick out. At number 4 on my list is drummers who do stick tricks. I can't stand all this nonsense, all this rubbish, right? Now, this is multi-leveled, okay? When I taught drums, and I taught in colleges, I taught thousands of drummers. And there was a certain type of drummer that I would get every now and then. They were always boys, right? They always liked rock music. They listened to Blink-182 or the equivalent of that. And they thought that drumming was all about what you look like when you drummed. And they would drum in a certain way, which they thought was flashy. And they used to do things like this. They'd bring the stick up and sometimes around their heads, right? They could never do that, right? This is what's called a fake spin. It's one of the few stick tricks I can do. I can do a few stick tricks. So I just try and talk and keep that going. It's quite odd. So there's a fake spin. I'm not really spinning that stick at all. And it's the angle. When I first did it, I did it then. It doesn't look so good because I'm basically just... But that's called a fake spin. A real spin, which I can't do, right? You only don't like it because you can't do. I can do a ton of stick tricks. I can bloody do stick tricks. Look at this one. Right, stick. Didn't work. Right. This one's quite hard. So you're playing away, and then you get your stick, you throw it against the floor, right? You can throw it against the floor. So I think it's this expensive rug I've got, and you do this. I'll get it in a minute. Hold your horses there. Let's have another go. Did it work? Are you okay? Oh, it'll happen at some point. There! And that's another stick trick I can do. That didn't go well, did it, Andy? Well, yeah, you tried. Let's get a nice composition getting back there. So, drummers who do stick tricks. Drummers who try and play with flair, right? Now, I've seen this a million times, and I'm trying to get them to actually develop any sort of technique on the drums. Oh, I've just had a horrible message come through. I won't tell you what it is. Life, real life. I can't stick it. Stick spinning. Anyway, this morning when I got up, a drummer who actually knows about drumming, I went, check this out. And it was this kid playing the first bit to Spirit of the Radio by Rush. And they played it well. It was nice drumming, but the thing was, they were doing all this, and they were banging it, and it was spinning off, and they catching all that, like that. You know that beardy bloke with the sort of piggy figure, Esteban Pranzio, that bloke. He's a bloody brilliant drummer, but he's all these stick tricks, and people appreciate it. And then what you get on top of that are these girls, and they're sat on the drums, and they've got the short skirt on, and they're playing something really basically simple, and then doing some quite basic stick tricks, and it's like 1 million views. This is based in bitterness. I mean, my drumming days are coming to an end now. Really, I mean, when I was a drummer 20 years ago, I was known for speed and complexity. Right, that's what I was. I was doing a lot of very technical stuff. Drummers have since gone on to push the technique to another level. Right, but that's what I was doing. I don't drum so much now, but when I do sit down on the drums, sometimes I push myself a little bit too far because I'm not able to do what I used to do. And that's ended up with this. I've now got a repetitive strain injury. And this is very embarrassing. I've actually stopped teaching because I think until I get this sorted, I'm not going to teach drums, because I have said for years that that technique is not about play fast, it's about stopping injuries from happening. Now, I knew on a couple of gigs recently that I was not playing with the correct technique here. I was just trying to get through the gig because my hands were not... You have to have a certain strength there. And this is really, really important. This is the serious bit of this. Stick tricks are great, but they're not good drumming. It's got nothing to do with good drumming. And I think so often... you've got too serious on this video now, but I do think it's an important thing to get across, is that stick tricks I know a whole ton of stick tricks, but I'm not the person to do these ones. I do things like one-handed rolls. There's a number of ways of doing one-handed rolls. Some of them are really hard, but there's an easy... Do you want to see a one-handed roll? Because that does impress people. There's a guy called Jared Folk. I think he owns Drumeo, and he's like one of the most important drummers on the planet at the moment. And I think he came to fame by doing a one-handed roll as a trick to doing a one-handed roll. Let's go and do it. Come on, let's have a move around, right? Let's have a move around, shall we? It's a bit more exciting, isn't it, when this happens? So we'll go over here. I'll put this on my drum kit, and we'll do a one-handed roll. There we go. There we go. Can you see me okay over there? I haven't got any proper lighting. My good hand. Ready? One-handed roll. So the way you do this, I'm a bit out of practice with that. I need to do some bloody practice. So basically, I'm pushing the stick down. Oh yeah, I'm waiting for the volume to come back. I'm sorry if I went a bit quiet then. So I'm pushing the stick down, and that brings the stick up. And then by keeping the pressure on the back here, when I pick it up, I get another strike. So I can do a few stick tricks. I can do the bloody rubbish one-handed roll. It's called a freehand roll, that is. Don't be fooled by this stuff, people. Drumming's an art form. It's about feel. That's not, I don't like the camera there. That's better. Shall we move on to the last one, number 5 now? This is not one musician, it's a band. And I actually like this band. I like their music, but they really annoy me. It's Wolfpack. Snarky Puppy, that's one thing. Dirty Loops, that's one thing. So at a certain point, it's quite excited this was. The internet comes along and people start playing sort of jazz fusion stuff. It's not coming from the usual suspects. It's these new bands. But they seem to have a conception of the internet and how it works. And they have sort of this memey way of presenting jazz fusion that starts to get millions of views. Dirty Loops do it by doing sort of really intense fusion versions of like pop songs. Snarky Puppy do it by getting all their trendy mates and putting them in a trendy studio and getting them on the headphones and then getting people to play jazz. And then trendy types who watch these videos go, well, I don't get what they're doing. I mean, that Corey Glover bloke just seems like he's playing loads of random notes really fast because they don't understand it. But cool people are nodding while it's going on. So it must be quite good. If cool people are nodding, then it must be quite good. And that was their claim to fame, is to have cool people nodding. And then they look at each other. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh, like that. It's all that going on. That's the bit people are watching for. No way. Oh, can't believe it. He's bloody good, isn't he? But they don't have any of this bit on. It would be better if they did. It wouldn't, but you can imagine that. Shall we try and recreate that with a bit of jazz fusion for you? Come on, let's do it now. This is what we're here for. This is what it would be. I'm going to bloody demonetise now, aren't I? Is this a good idea? Well, you've committed to it now, haven't you? I'm going to demonetise now, chaps. Let's get some proper jazz fusion on. What have you got here? There's some tasty jazz fusion. You must have something here. It's full. I've got loads. You need that sort of funky sort of slightly middle of the road jazz fusion for this to work. Let's try and find something. Oh, see, your tastes are a little bit too, they're a bit too out there for this to work. You ain't got anything really. But the best is, this is all too artistic. Let's try this one. So say you got this going on. Yeah, right, let's have a go then. Start. That's not working now. Why? Oh, you've got to switch it on, haven't you? Start. Oh, this is not working. I've got a real problem here with me recording. What's happened? Oh God, this is terrible. Now the whole thing's gone off. Why has the whole thing gone off? I haven't blown it up. That's gone off. My amp's just blown up. My amp has just blown up. Come and look at this, everybody. This changes the whole thing. Right, look. It was all right before. Right, I'll take you off. Come on. Let's. That's my lovely Arkham amp. And it was making a noise. It's still plugged in. And now it's not working. Kevin, I'm at the end of my video. I'm doing a YouTube video. My stereo stopped working. This is my friend Kevin.
In the heat of the day down in Mobile, Alabama.
Are you just going to come and say hello to finish my video off to my people?
Who are we talking to?
The great. This is my friend Kevin Gammon. He's my
Hello.
mentor, and he is my friend. Okay, you lot. See you on the next video. We're done. We're done now.